What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for watching Wonder Repeat. We have some crazy guests tonight. I just want to warn you, this may not be PG rated. But anyway, stay tuned for this craziness. I would just like to say another week has gone by and there is still no new intro.
What?
Is that on my
cat fight?
Is that on my to-do list?
Yes.
Oops.
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
We're great.
We're great now.
Yeah. I know. All the
Joe's got his computer going.
Yeah, you don't have to be in the same room sitting beside him.
I am not good with technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I'm not good.
It'll throw you for a loop.
Yeah.
It made me sweat.
It definitely does for a live show because you're very much under the. You've set a date, like I was telling you before the show. I had looked at and I was like, it had said 7. I was ready for 7. 7.
I was ready for 7.
7 went by, and I was just like, so it says in 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't think that's what that originally was. Something is wrong.
Something was wrong.
But you got it all fixed.
Well, we've had internet issues here at Casa de Slayton for a while, and tomorrow they get fixed. We just had to make it through tonight.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I knew that the eve before we get an upgrade, something would happen.
Oh yeah, because it knows.
That was correct.
It knows.
Yeah.
And so you called your friend over there, Connie. You're like, Connie, let's jump on this and let's wear matching shirts.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we plan this pretty much every day. We select our wardrobes and we try every chance we get to
I've
match.
never seen Connie in
Does
a police
Connie
uniform.
Does Connie not have an Artemis hat?
Yeah, I do.
She does.
So you need to go get it.
She wants to remind people to be kind.
Be kind. I wear my be kind hat all the time.
Yeah, I don't have a be kind hat. So
Now, I have to disagree with you on that, Connie, because I have to show these pictures that Joey sent with the hats. So
That's dangerous.
Lots of hats.
But
That's
you have
dangerous.
to. This is one hat.
Yeah,
That's my Ure hat.
Yeah, and then we'll go to this picture.
same hat.
Same
Same
hat.
Yeah,
Same hat.
I was just like, she just loves this hat.
yeah.
Well, she was in Colorado.
I was in Colorado.
Yeah.
Well, that one was from Big Ben.
That was mainly because the rest of her hats were buried under 900 days of clothes that she took with her on that trip, and she didn't want to have to dig it out.
Yeah.
This is your third half commenting, saying, "Yo, what's up?"
Yo, bats.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Joey the Brofessor, he has an off-road overlanding philosopher show. So Joey, it's the Brofessor Bats and Friends. And he actually just came on here before with Chad. Go make sure to catch that. It started at 7:30 and it was about the circumnavigation route. And Chad's a great guy. We've actually done the goat trail with him.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to kind of let you know, when we were on the goat trail, we were camping. It was like a full weekend thing. While we were going out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, on the left, there was a building and it said above the building, wife training facility. And so we were like,
where is this place?
It's in
I've got it
Oklahoma.
marked. I think I've got marked in Gaia. I think I marked it.
Take me back later. I was like, I
I'm
can't
gonna write this down where I can look that up tomorrow. Memory. All right, to do tomorrow.
I tried to let her out, but she was driving at the time.
I was.
Well, it's obvious that y'all didn't stop. So,
No. Well, that's why I was gone for a couple weeks. You didn't see me.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, after I made that video, I mean, just a few days later, someone that was there watched the video and just thought it was hilarious. And it's a deer camp is what it is.
It's a deer camp.
Yeah, someone had, when they were putting it together, someone did that as a joke and called it the
I
wife
thought it
training
was
facility.
funny.
Perfect name
It
for a beer
stuck
camp.
and they left. It is.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
there was a bunch of guys in overalls on the front porch as we drove by. And we actually drove back by because we didn't get it recording the first time. And so then
Yeah,
we went
we had
back.
we had to turn around.
We turned around. And we had how many people were with us, babe? 4 or 5?
4 or 5. Yeah.
So we turned back around and then we went back and we were recording it the whole time. So
That's awesome.
they were waving, come on.
Yeah, that was one of those that had to hit the brakes and turn around.
So that was the whole. I needed to give you the context for the wife training facility.
Love it.
Anyways, so Joey, tell us a little bit about yourself. What started this crazy adventure in podcast world, and how did you get into overlanding? Go.
Oh, man, where do we begin? Let's see.
Your wife, you wanting to get a new vehicle, and your wife seeing the FJ.
Well,
Oh,
Connie
yeah.
and I have always rode motorcycles,
Yeah.
and we've always done motorcycle-based camping. She rides her own Harley, and I had a Harley, and I had a trailer that I pulled behind my Harley, and we actually had a tent that we kept in the trailer, and we would go all kinds of places. We've been to several different states. A ground tent, yeah,
Okay.
because you can't put a rooftop tent on the back of a trailer that's pulled by a motorcycle.
I just wasn't sure.
Or if you have done that, please let us know. Please let us know. But we traveled all over and did that, and for many years, I had mowed yards as a secondary job to try to pay the bills, and I had this big giant F-250 that was broke down constantly. Decided not to mow grass anymore, and we went down. I had a buddy that worked at Landers Toyota in Little Rock, and I told him, I said, I've got this F-250, and if I can get it down there, I'm not bringing it home. I'm going to buy something while I'm there.
Okay.
And so he had this Tacoma down there, and I went down there to check out this Tacoma. He had it all washed and all sitting out there real nice and pretty when we got there. Mm-hmm. And I was going to show up with my truck. I was going to trade for this Tacoma. I had it all planned out in my head. I'm not a shopper, so I don't shop around. I know what I want. I go get it and I come home. That's the way I do. And so we pulled up. We got there quite a while before he did, before they opened, and they had the Tacoma sitting out there. And Connie looked at that truck and she said,
"Nope,
you ain't gonna like that." And I looked at it and I agreed.
What made you not like the Tacoma?
I really don't know. It was.
I told him it was a downgrade from what he had. That's all it was.
It was not pretty.
I've said in one of
you
the
sit in
videos,
it?
it's really hard.
Did you sit in it?
No.
I didn't sit in it. It was locked.
Okay.
I just looked at the outside. It had some scratches and dents and was not. It just looked like somebody did not take care of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I said, well, we're here. I told him I'm not taking that F-250 back home because I got it all the way down there. The check engine light did not come on and I made it. I was not taking it back. So I said, let's just go look around. So we went out, we looked at a few things that they had, and they had I believe it was a 2012 solid white FJ sitting out there. And Connie looked at that and she said, what is that? I've never seen one of those.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's an FJ Cruiser. I remember when they came out in 2007, they had one on 67, 167. I can't remember the name of the dealership, but they had it pulled up on the side of a rock. And I remember going by there thinking, those are cool. But I also remember thinking I'll never be able to afford one. Well, here we are, years and years later, and finally they get enough miles on them, enough age on them that the price comes down. I can afford one. So I said, this is cool. And so we drove it. We loved it. Ended up looking at another one that they had and ended up buying the secondary one. And so that's what got me involved in the FJ. And I brought it home. Little did I know the cult following that these vehicles have. And I've always been a motorcycle guy. Vehicles were just a mode of transportation for me. Yeah. It was nothing special. And so I never really knew the cult following until I got on Facebook and seeing FJ Cruiser World and FJ Cruiser 4x4 and all these different groups that had thousands of people in there. And little did I know the accessories that you could put on them. And I was like, OMG.
And
I
what
can
year
make
was
this
this, Joey? When did you get the FJ?
2017.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I
So
think it
you
was
haven't had it
17.
for very long.
I've had it 5 years.
Okay.
And so that was in the middle of the summer. Ended up doing some upgrades to it. I remember the very first thing that I bought was on Black Friday. I got on what's the 4x4 big 4x4 place that's in Little Rock?
Four-wheel parts.
For Whip Arts. They had a big Black Friday sale. So I bought the Smitty built front bumper and back bumper at the same time. They had a big deal. Came on a semi truck. I laid out in my driveway. It was like 18 degrees outside. I put the front bumper on. It was so heavy it set the front end down on the bump stops. I mean, it would look like a freaking drag car. It was horrible looking. And I've actually got pictures of where I was like, I don't care what it looks like. We're taking it out in the woods. So we drove this thing out in the woods, and it was like riding on a washing machine being dragged down the highway. It was horrible.
No.
I had no springs, no shocks, no nothing. So then I called a buddy and said, man, I got to get a lift kit on there. This thing was horrible.
Yeah.
So we put a lift kit on it, and the rest is history. And ended up, I've done countless things to this FJ.
So how many miles was it when you got it?
It had 118.
Yeah,
115.
About 118,000 on it.
Okay.
Last week on the way to West Virginia, it rolled over 200,000.
So you put some pretty good miles on it.
For something I don't drive every day,
That's not bad.
yeah, it's got pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not my daily driver, so I've got a work car that I drive every day. So we've taken it on some long trips, but it sits throughout the week in the driveway and soaking up the sun.
And Connie, I know you have always had the Harley, and so
Yes.
you love the Harley life.
She's actually had motorcycles longer than me.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been riding for 22 years. So.
Oh wow! So has it always been Harleys for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And did you do? So you did the off-roading stuff with Harleys? Like, did you do the whole? You see those people at
The
like at
camping
Rendezvous,
stuff.
like the whole packs that they have on the back and
Yes.
all
Adventure,
that.
no, not the adventure
The
bike.
adventure bikes, yes.
No, I don't have it. No, I have ape hangers, fishtails, and
Okay.
21 on the front. So mine
Yeah, it's a street bike for sure.
is a street bike. Yeah.
It's a pretty bike. So how far have you driven on it before? Like, what's the longest range?
Yes, tell
We've
us, mate.
rode to,
I
We've
said,
rode to
yeah.
Sturgis twice.
How many miles is that?
Well,
Or hours, I guess.
the second
16
time coming,
1,600 miles from here.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, and the
Man.
second time coming back,
That makes my booty hurt.
we had a friend that got hurt when we were in Sioux Falls, and
Okay.
he a bungee cord hit him in his eye, and he had to wear a patch on the way home, and so we left that morning, and it was 755 miles to Conway, Arkansas from Sioux Falls, and I rode it.
700.
I was not a happy camper, but we left about 8 o'clock and we got home about 1:30 in the
Midnight.
morning. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joey,
I
I
got
think
in
she
trouble.
deserves so much in the world for that one ride for the rest of her life.
Yeah, I got in trouble. We were only supposed to ride to Kansas City, and we got to Kansas City. It was a beautiful day. Everybody felt great. I said, well, let's just keep going. So we got down to Fayetteville. Everybody felt great. Let's just keep going. We just kept going, and we ended up not stopping. And she really wanted to stop, but we didn't stop. And
Well, you get her first.
it wouldn't have been so bad, but coming from Sioux Falls, there's a lot of traffic. There was 4 car wrecks. We were stuck on the freeway, and it was the wind just makes you tired. And then riding Fayetteville to
The
40
curves.
at night, at 11 o'clock at night was just
lots of deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, night
But
riding.
she's a trooper. She's a trooper. We had ridden about 4,000 miles that week, and we had ridden up into Montana, North Dakota,
Dang.
When he got hurt and we had to stay an extra night, we rode up into Minnesota. We just, that's what we did to explore, and we loved it, and so it was fun. But
So
I've never ridden a motorcycle longer than 10 minutes. Is that like getting off a horse after a while?
Yes.
Your legs ache.
I
and
think
you
I
walk
would just
funny
fall
and-
off.
Legs ache, your back aches.
This is what Joey looked like after riding that
That's
car.
exactly what I look like. That's my buddy. He favors his dad.
Did he go with y'all?
No, that was before we had him.
We didn't have.
Okay.
We've only had him 4 years. So
4 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what made you decide, Connie, I want an FJ too? Or was that Joey saying you should have an FJ to match my FJ?
no. I had a car. I've always had convertibles, and because just me liking motorcycles, and
You like that
I
open air?
was getting my oil changed, and Joey's like, he was out that day, and he's like, hey, while you're getting your oil change, they have an orange FJ for sale there. Why don't you just go look at it?
Mhm.
And so I went to look at it,
Yeah.
and it's 2013, and it only had 5,000 miles on it. So
Incredible
And-
find.
yeah,
It was. It really was. That we have the magnets. Those are the magnets.
Is that like
Goat
goat
armor.
goat armor?
goat armor.
That's goat armor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she brought it home, and she said, I don't know what do you think? And I said, well,
Really?
you know-
After she brought it home already?
well,
No,
she was test driving it. She was test driving.
Oh, okay.
And she said, what do you think? I said, well, if you want it, get it. She said, well, I just don't know. What do you think? I said, well, if you want it, get it.
Mhm.
Well, I just don't know. I don't know. I'll think about it. So she took it back. And the next morning, the salesman called, and the general manager had come in and said, why didn't she buy this FJ? She needs to have this FJ. So they called her back, and she's like, they just called me. They want me to go up there and look at that FJ again. Well, if you want it, go get it. If you want it, get it.
Yeah.
So, she went up there and she bought it. And the day we got it, we brought it home, loaded it up, and drove it straight to Albuquerque and almost doubled the miles.
Oh my gosh.
I've had it since 2018, and I think I have like 29,000 miles on it. So
Yeah.
That's still
You need to
really,
drive it
really
more.
good, Connie.
No. Well, we've got
You're saying
plans.
that's collector's
for this
item.
FJ.
That-
It's
that's
the
gonna-
collector's item. Yeah, we got
That's going to
plans
fund your
for it.
retirement. Is what
or
that's-
if Amy Marler really wants to
I was
buy
gonna
it,
say,
she can.
Amy Marler is in this group now.
She has
She's in
told
here.
us that she has first dibs if we
Yeah.
decide to sell it. So
I
we'll
think
see.
I think I
I
just
think-
heard that it was for sale.
I'm thinking you should put it up for auction.
Well, the thing is we're trying to make long term
show.
plans. We're
Like you
trying to
should-
make
you should put it up for
for auction on the show. We're trying to make long term plans, and we have dreams of owning a Conqueror just like you guys, but we don't have anything that will pull it.
Pull it.
And so
Yeah.
that would be the vehicle that we would sell to buy a larger vehicle to pull a Conqueror. So we're kind of contemplating that. We're mulling it over and seeing what we want to do.
I mean, like you were saying, those FJs are a hot commodity, especially one with low mileage like that, because they have the FJ Summit and everything out west. So, I mean, because I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't make them anymore, right?
They make them overseas. They don't make them in the United States.
Okay.
They're not available in the United States. The last year that they made it was 2013.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's always
a heck of a
rumors
deal.
that it's coming back, but so far it hasn't.
Always, every year.
Yeah, I love it for sure.
Yeah,
Now,
well, either
so-
our plans is to either get a Tundra
Uh-huh.
or
A Land Cruiser,
Land Cruiser.
a new
Yeah.
Land Cruiser.
I was about to say, I think you could have bought Misty's Land Cruiser, but it was a little older.
No, something a little more reliable.
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, you want some- well, I mean, it has
What?
seen its days.
Wait. There's a Toyota that's not reliable. Let's.
There are unreliable Toyotas out there.
I mean, it had a lot of mileage.
It
though.
was a good girl. It was a good girl, but
Yeah.
Yeah. She traveled many places.
She did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good girl for her.
So I want to look at some of these places that you've been, Joey, because I know y'all like to travel. I know you are a police officer. I don't know if you mind me saying that. I hope you don't, because I just did. But you do also for the school, so you have a little bit of time flexibility in the summer. So I know you hit it hard camping in the summer. I would say honestly, you probably camp pretty much every day in summer.
Try to. We work actually as school resource officers. We work more in the 9 months that we're in school than the regular officer does for 12 months.
Yeah.
So when school is in, we work. When school is out, we're off. That's the way the schedule works now. So we try to plan trips on the weekends because we're off on the weekends. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, spring break, and summer. That's when usually our long trips are taken. So.
Well, I know you also have had to work more than that just because of the shortage, and I do want to acknowledge you as a police officer to say thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
We do support that completely for our channel.
That. Well, and you got to have somebody to tell you your garage door's up all night.
You do. I mean, if it wasn't for you, we would probably have no vehicles out in the garage.
I know that
My
they're on
husband
patrol, and they don't tell me.
Yeah.
They're
not as good as Joey.
Well, we got some new guys out there, so they're not like us old fogies. Take care of people.
So some of the places that you've been, I'm assuming this is in Colorado.
That's on California Pass.
Okay.
That was the first high mountain that Connie had ever been on, and Bruiser had ever been on. So we got somebody to take our picture while we were up there. It was a beautiful day, so we had a great time. Was
that your first time to go to Colorado?
Was not mine. That was Connie's first time, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
That was 2017. Okay. 18.
That's our first trip to Colorado.
Was that does Bruiser do well out west or anytime he's traveling? Because our dogs, we've taken ours a couple times, and they won't eat. They're overwhelmed with all the smells, and it's just it was like how we are, honestly, because we're amazed that our dogs are because we actually called the vet while we were out there because ours just wouldn't eat. So finally we just we're feeding them whatever we ate.
Yeah. Bruiser is the best travel dog I've ever seen or heard of. When he is in the car, he sleeps. That trip right there, we drove all the way back from Ouray. I was pulling a trailer, so it was really slow. It took us about 25 hours, and he slept the whole way.
Oh, my gosh.
The only thing that we have to watch about Bruiser is he has a lot of food allergies, so we have to definitely make sure that we have enough food. We actually ran out of food on that trip, and we had to make a trip down into Durango. That was the only place where there were actual pet stores to get him some food because he has to have single protein beef. He cannot have any chicken, fish, or anything like that. So
they have the biggest outdoor dog park there in Durango.
I did not know that.
It's the largest. It's huge. It's kind of frightening, but go roam the mountain. I don't know.
But he does very well. He loves to explore, loves to get out, and he didn't have trouble breathing up there that I can remember. Now the thing that we did have trouble with him is he hates storms. He hates lightning and thunder. And so we were camped, and Colorado in the summertime, it storms almost every afternoon.
Yeah.
Thunder came, lightning came, and he just took off, barking and running in any general direction he thinks it's coming from. So we had to chase him down and make sure he didn't run off into the highway.
But does he run fast? I mean, it must have been
he's
pretty
faster than you think he is, but he's not. He doesn't run like a deer. So he's got big body, giant head, short legs. So as fast as he can go with that, it's he's
I always
want
to get in his way and try to stop him because he's going to knock you
out.
He's a bulldozer, runs over everything in his path. So he's something. He's
next time you go to Durango, you need to check out that dog park. For sure.
Definitely will.
Yeah, for sure. And is this also in
That's at the Great Sand Dunes.
Okay.
That was 2 years ago. That is with Aaron and Carrie from Artemis. We actually Met
didn't
them
recognize
there.
that Jeep.
This was about 3 days short of a 15-day trip. Actually,
Oh, wow.
2 days after this is when we met y'all. Y'all were going out. We were coming back. I talked to you on the radio.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Isn't
were
that what you
leaving
did?
the
Weren't you in the ERT?
volcano thing, babe. We saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we were going out there, I actually had my radio on. I heard you and Nathan talking, and Nathan said, "There's
Yep.
Joey right there." And I talked to Matt for just a minute.
Yeah.
So we missed y'all.
Didn't y'all run the Enchanted Rockies Trail on that trip?
Just a little bit of it.
Okay.
A section or two of it. This was the trip that it was kind of funny because my high school baseball coach hired me to pull his boat to Durango. Not Durango, Gunnison, to Gunnison. And so me and Bruiser hooked up to this boat. We pulled it all the way to Gunnison, drove through the absolute worst storm I've ever driven through in my life. I thought it was going to turn the boat over.
Oh, no.
And we made it to Gunnison, and then we had 7 days to make it to Denver. And we went up through Pitkin, up over Cumberland Pass, I believe is what it is.
I think
And
that's right, yeah.
then we met Connie. We picked Connie up at the airport at Denver, and then we came back down and just made our way. That was one of the first times that we had ever moved somewhere different every day. We didn't camp in one spot for a couple of days and then another spot and another spot. We picked up and moved every single day, and then we ended up meeting Aaron and Carrie down just outside of Great Sand Dunes. Spent 3 days with them, and then went to Capulan Volcano, and then came home.
Did y'all go to Madonna Pass at all?
Yeah, Madonna Pass.
Okay.
That was actually on Madonna Pass. That picture
Okay,
was
right as you're
right
going
after we went through the sand dunes. We actually went through the bottom dunes, and I think that was right before Madonna Pass started.
Those sand dunes are crazy because at first I thought like little twigs were up at the top, but it was people that had hiked all the way up.
Yeah.
Because I would come back
Yeah, I
home and
can
I was
imagine.
going through all of our camera pictures and stuff, and I was just like, "That's a person! Look, that's incredible."
It was so hot.
Yeah.
And people had those overgrown snowboards, and they were walking up that sand up to the very top.
Yeah.
It would only take them about 18 seconds to get down to the bottom, and then they would take route. And I thought, good Lord, what a workout.
It is.
Just for walking in the sand down where it was level was a chore. And trying to climb those dunes,
it's kind of like the way it was at White Sands too. Whenever we went to White Sands in New Mexico, it's kind of the same. It's the sand that you're having to trudge through.
Yeah, and there was a couple people that were stuck out there. They had taken
4-wheel drive only, and they didn't.
And they just take off up through there. But there was a national park ranger that was helping people, making sure that they were doing that. But the first night we spent the night there, it rained the whole night. We were under our awnings pretty much the whole evening.
We pulled in there when it was raining too. So
miserable. But we had a great time.
Matt, you're muted. I don't know why you're muting yourself.
Because I had to clear my throat.
Oh, I see.
I didn't want to do that to everybody. So, but I forgot to unmute. So
I'm still getting over my sinus cold, so I'm woofing down cough drops like they're going out.
Yeah, when we pulled in there, it was dark. It was like 10 o'clock at night by the time we got there because we had issues on the way, and so we had no idea what this place looked like where we were. And then we wake up in the morning, and it was just gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
where we found a spot to camp, and it was so cool.
I didn't realize that there were so many spots to camp on that pass. About every quarter mile to half a mile there was, and some of them were really big. So if you had really large groups that they're
real hard to find in the dark.
I guarantee you.
They're real hard to find in the dark
because there's not a whole lot of street lights on that pass. So but that area, the cool thing about that area that I love, and especially about if you didn't stop at Capulan Monument, the volcano, it's it's in the top 5 darkest places in the United States.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
We've
So-
driven by it so many times and have never stopped.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
it's-
too. And we decided to stop this time. It was so neat. There's a 1 mile
Rim.
walkway where you can walk all the way around it. And also, if you go in the summertime, the ladybugs migrate to the center of the volcano.
Oh, wow.
So it's really neat because it's really cool down there and they're escaping the heat.
Mhm.
But I really want to
Wow,
go
that's
back and go at night because, it said it was one of the darkest places in the United States. And I'd really love to go back there at night. But it was a really neat place. And plus, it was between the end of Madonna Pass and where we were actually going to hit I-40 to come home. So it worked out good for us.
Yeah, Nathan is on. He's saying, "Hey guys."
Hey,
Hey,
Nathan.
Nathan.
One of these days, I am ready to get out to both Colorado and Utah and not have an agenda and just be able to stop any place we see. But
And
every
to
time
not
we go
do
out there,
like any badge trails.
Yeah, every time we go out there, we've
Yeah,
we've got an
Yeah.
agenda.
I understand. And that trip there was, I think that's why I really enjoyed that trip so much, because the only thing that I had to do on that trip, I had to get to Gunnison, and then I had to pick up Connie by a certain time because I knew when she was flying in. But I had no agenda of where I was stopping, where I was going, how far I had to go on a certain day. That was at Taylor Reservoir, which is between
been there.
just outside of Buena Vista.
Yep.
And beautiful
cold
spot.
water. Cold.
Such a beautiful spot. That was after I picked up Connie. I think it was the 3rd day. And that area was so beautiful that I was kind of in a predicament because Bruiser and I had, gone, explored, and found some beautiful campsites and some beautiful areas. And I thought, I really want my wife to experience this because I didn't want to go to a place and then her not be able to experience what I had
seen
experienced.
what you had, yeah.
And so what really in actuality, what I did was I took her back down the same exact route that I took all the way back to Gunnison. And then Aaron and Carrie contacted us and we hauled butt down to meet them. But, I went up and I took her back to almost the same exact places that we had camped and I wanted her to experience that because that was such a beautiful, neat area. To have those little towns in the middle of nowhere like that is fascinating to me. And I just really enjoy it.
Joey, you've inspired me. So, babe, I think me and Oakley need to just take off and, have a father pup one-on-one trip out to Colorado or.
You have plenty one-on-one trips. I can't help it. You're not taking Oakley. You get to go all the time everywhere by yourself.
This was the first time Bruiser had went with me on a trip like this, where we had moved around, and
he don't know what's going on.
It was so funny because we drove straight to Gunnison. We did not stop. We did not spend the night or anything. We drove straight through the night, got there, and the very first night that we spent was in Colorado. Just outside of Pitkin. And by the 3rd night, it was every afternoon about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd be cooking dinner or sitting down or whatever. And I would hear him. He would be sitting at the bottom of the ladder of the iCamper whining, ready to go to bed. And I would have to haul his big old butt up into that tent. And he would just sit up there. He would go to sleep, look out the window. He loved being up there. And so that was really, really neat time for us.
Mr. Panini says 9 Mile Canyon in Carbon County, Utah is a nice drive. It's paved, but nice to use several stops to look at petroglyphs etched in the rocks. And I know that you had sent, let me see if I can find that picture. And I have to show it now that you mentioned Bruiser up in the top. There it is. You're up there.
That's him.
So do you lug him up there? Surely he doesn't just hop all those steps.
There is no ramp
that can't be graceful.
Yes, there is. Well, there's a ramp, a wrap that you can wrap around the ladder.
They do have a wrap. You wrap around the ladder that dogs can climb up there. But I just pick him up, throw him over my shoulder, and tote him up there. Now, getting him down is the hardest part because he starts pawing,
Oh, he didn't want
thinking
to.
he's falling. He doesn't trust his dad, but
So do you have to do
Yeah.
the same to Connie whenever you're ready to take her? You just pick
close,
her up. And
very close. Depends on how much,
No.
how late it is or whatever.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, I hear you.
He's usually in bed a long time before I ever get
It
up
depends
there.
on if
Yeah.
we went and had margaritas before, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Dylan MTV says, do you guys daily your rigs, or are they designated for overlanding and off-roading only? How do you justify the low gas mileage? What kind of gas mileage are you getting?
I get, let's see, on the way home, pulling the trailer from West Virginia last week, I got about 10
Whew.
miles a gallon. Without the trailer, I get about 14. Connie's rig gets about 21. It doesn't have quite a bit as
Oh,
much.
hers is not near as heavy as yours.
It's not near as heavy as mine is.
Yes.
Pretty much all hers has is a lift and a rooftop tent. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, tires. That's it.
Yeah, tires and sliders. But
Mm.
no, they are not our daily rigs. When we bought Connie's FJ, that was whatever she drove was our daily driver. That's what we ran to town in. That's what she commuted to Little Rock in. And so when we bought the FJ, we kind of put ourselves in a predicament because the reason that we bought it was it had low miles on it. If you buy something with low miles on it, you immediately start putting miles on it, then that kind of defeats the purpose. So I actually went and bought a Prius to be our daily driver.
Yeah.
Now, I can justify the mileage on the Prius. Right now, lifetime, it's got 102,000 miles on it. Lifetime, it's sitting at 44.6 miles a gallon. And I have a company rig that I drive every day. Now, I did not, and I've had this conversation, and this comes up. I don't know if it comes up on the Jeep groups or whatever.
It does. Yep.
Constantly,
absolutely.
every single day, people are griping about mileage on these FJs. And I'm telling, if you're going to go out and buy a square brick, putting a lot of weight on
Which
it,
is basically a Jeep.
tires,
A
and
square.
gripe about the mileage, I'm
Your
sorry.
FJ is more aerodynamic than ours. Yours at least has some
I
curves.
don't know. I just don't know. It's built like, I mean, it's square. It's square. And I know Jeeps are square too. I didn't buy it for the mileage. Now I don't like it. I don't like getting 10 miles a gallon. I don't like it. I don't like that gas is $3.89 a gallon. But I'm going to do whatever I have to do to be able to go out and go on these adventures because that's my getaway time. That is the time where
it's smiles per gallon.
Smiles per gallon. I love that. I love that because that's when I unwind and actually let loose of all the things that's been crammed in my head for so many weeks or months or whatever. It's time to get away.
And I think that's how we would justify it too. When people ask, how do you justify the low gas mileage that we're getting or how expensive it is to fill up the gas and knowing that we're fixing to go through a crap ton. It's just
Cara works 2 jobs and she works extra at one job to pay for the gas and we're good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically true.
Same here. Same here. And before we went to West Virginia, it was when the gas spiked and it just kept going up. And I thought, this is not going to be a fun trip for me because I'm going to worry about paying gas. This 7-day trip is going to cost me around $1,000 in gas.
Yeah.
But is that worth it to me to not go?
No.
To stay home? No, it was not worth it to me to stay home. We went.
And some people it may be, so it just depends on what you want to do, really. Like
some people may cannot afford it. I can work.
That's real.
That's real. That's being real. I can work extra. I can work overtime at different places and make money specifically for gas. I've got a huge trip planned for June, and I'm worried about gas, so I am working extra and putting every penny back.
Everybody's hiring, so if you want to go work for some extra, you could get a job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for Cara and I, of course, we both have Jeeps, and they're our daily drivers.
I get 16, luckily, by the way. I get 16 miles per gallon.
A little over 16 miles per gallon. I was happy. I got 13 today going to Cabot.
But when he pulls the tank, it goes down to 9.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I went to, I had that trip to Kentucky, and I was like, okay, this trip's going to cost me a good, 60% more than it would have a year ago, and that's okay. We've, that's okay for us, and we've made the decision that when we go to Colorado in July, we're going to be incredibly stupid and take boats.
Incredibly stupid and take both Jeeps. If you didn't hear him because he's frozen. Yeah.
Take both Jeeps.
Am I frozen?
Yeah. Well, you were.
Yeah. Now you're not.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
Well,
in July, we're going to be incredibly stupid and take both Jeeps, and we're just going to suck it up, and we'll save for it. And
He's frozen again.
We're going to have a heck of a time.
Robert says he's only getting 14 with the Jeep on 37s and just 10 in his 4Runner. How much do you get in the Tacoma is what I want to know, Robert. You'll have to come back to us on that. But Joey, I want to talk about some other things with your rig. It is one of the most incredible built FJ's rigs that I've seen. Quite honestly.
Thank you.
I'm not even kidding. I seriously think Matt should do a walk around of your rig. Plan it. Do what you need to do. I'm not just blowing smoke, because you have built that rig and you've tested so many things. I know you obviously are wearing the shirt Artemis. We're super, super fans of Artemis and Aaron Matowski. Go check them out. They're in Springfield, Missouri. But anyways, I know that you rep a lot of the stuff that they sell there. And so like here is this the Howling Moon? Yeah, that's the Howling Moon.
That's our trailer. That's our trailer right when we first got it.
Okay.
Got the tent and the 270 on it.
That's huge.
It's big.
That's real big. And you have one on top of yours as well, right? Like that.
I did.
Okay. Because you went through several setups here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Joey changes tents more than I change underwear.
Yeah, there's a different one.
Well, that's the iCamper. That's when we're in Colorado. That was our first rooftop tent. When we got that rooftop tent, I had a homemade roof rack that a guy in Springfield had to completely rebuild in his shop during the first moor in order to be able to mount that. So we got that during the first moor. I bought it secondhand. That tent is now on Connie's FJ.
Oh, okay.
So we still have that tent.
I'm super pumped. I just got that tent.
I went from that tent to a Free Spirit Evolution. It's a lot like the clamshell, but it went straight up. I think you've got a picture of that too.
Do I?
It went up on one side and then went up on the other. That's the one that I just had. That I left that tent in West Virginia. A buddy of mine just bought that tent.
Gotcha. Here's another one, isn't it? Nope,
that's the same one. Just opened.
Let's see.
That's the Howling Moon. It was a 62 soft shell. That's the first time I had. That was the first time I had a soft shell on there. The soft shell I found out is really nice on the trailer because it's really easy to get to. On the FJ with the awning, it was really hard to set up. I couldn't get to the zipper. Really had a hard time. I had to have a ladder to set it all up. And so I really enjoy it on the trailer, but I really didn't like it as much on the FJ. So I'm going back to a hard shell. I don't know what I'm getting. I've been visiting with Aaron. It's either going to be the Howling Moon hard shell that pops straight up, or it's going to be an AluCap.
Okay.
And
I didn't realize Howling Moon made a hard shell. I would be interested in seeing that.
He has one, and it pops straight up. It's the only rooftop tent I've seen that has a real mattress. It actually has a real mattress like what is put on your bed.
Nice.
So it's really neat. It pops straight up, has awnings or has little overhangs on both sides. And so it's real easy to set up. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's real easy to set up because I'll be using it a lot by myself. So,
yeah. I will say we looked at one of those because we have fully support, like James Global Road. He has one of those. I think it's called the Navigator, and it pops up like that too. And I was going to get that for my Grand Cherokee whenever we were first looking at what tent to put on my vehicle. But he was saying if it's for a woman, he said it's a little bit more difficult because as soon as you go to put one side down, the other side will pop up. So it's like this constant juggling thing. And so that's the only, I was like, I don't want to do that. But I will say, I don't think I will ever go back to a soft top ever.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like I said, I love the tent that's on our trailer because it's big. It's really big. We can put Bruiser up there. It's got a really nice annex. When you put the annex and do the awning out with the walls, it is amazing base camp. But for the FJ and what I use it for, I wanted to have a setup, and I think we've had this conversation before. I wanted to have a setup that where it was the best of both worlds, where I could take the trailer, have a base camp. If I get on the top of Imogene and it's beautiful weather, I want to stop and I want to camp there for the night. I have something I can set up real quick. Everything is self-sufficient on its own. I don't have to have one. I don't have to have both. I can have one or the other. And so when we take quick trips on the weekend, I may not want to take the trailer because we just want to set up something quick and do like that. But if we take long trips and want a base camp, we have the best of both worlds. And that's really how we wanted it and how we planned it. And so putting the hard shell back on the FJ will make that much more appealing to me because with the soft shell on there, it was almost like, man, I don't want to mess with that. I don't, it's too hard, especially by myself. I don't want to have a workout and be all hot and sweaty by the time I'm putting everything up. I just want to pop it up and be done because really all you're using it for is to sleep in. It's not like you're going to spend all your time in there. And so it doesn't make enough sense to me to have this big glamorous thing that you're going to spend 8 hours in and get up and fold it up.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why we went with Gulliver Road is just because it's a budget. It works. That's all you got to need it for. Mr. Panini says I'm absolutely terrified of heights. I'm not sure if I could convince myself to sleep in a rooftop. I will say after the first night of sleeping in a rooftop tent, I'm always a little queasy when I wake up the next morning. I don't know if it's just because of being up high and like I'm a tosser and turner. So I think
10 foot of altitude.
Maybe, it gets me a little lightheaded. But I will say I do that in the hammocks too. I think it's just the movement. I don't know. But the heights never do bother me.
I've got vertigo real bad. You may have a hint of that. Because I have that as well. I have where I cannot, ride rides or anything like that. I have a tough time sleeping in a hammock because I can't sleep in anything that's moving. And but I really haven't had that in a rooftop tent. I'm not afraid of heights. Edges get me a little bit, but not height. But for me, and I'm thinking of having a Jeep is kind of the same thing. When you have a small vehicle, we had a ground tent. We started out with an Oz tent, and that's what we had. But the problem with the ground tent is all the stuff that you have to take to put inside of it. So we had cots, we had mattresses, we had pillows, all that stuff was in the FJ. Well, once you put that in there with Bruiser, you ain't got room for anything else. And so having a rooftop tent, especially with the iCamper, where we could store our mattress, our pillows, our covers, all that was in the tent constantly. So that got everything out of the vehicle and made so much more room for us to put our clothes, put our food, put our stove, whatever we wanted to take in there. And we didn't realize that at first, but that was part of learning the lifestyle. And, I could read all day on the internet about how to do this or how to do that. But once we never would have known that until we got out there.
And you're always going to read other people's views and opinions on things. But that may not work for what you want to do.
Oh, we see it every day on every different group we're in. I need some tires. What are the best tires? I mean, come on. Everybody's going to say whatever tire they've got.
But the tire that I want is the best.
And so, don't answer blanket questions like that. You're just going to have to get out there and experience it for yourself because, we could park our rigs beside each other and no two things are alike.
We can't talk about tires.
We do the same thing. Yeah, I saw your tire post today, so I'm sorry I brought that up. And I know which one it's going on because you can tell by the tread.
Well, we'll have to see, I guess.
Yeah,
Sink
what you
cycles.
said,
Look,
that's
just
been,
picked up a Gazelle T4. You ever use one of those?
I've carried
Have
one in the
used
back of
one.
my Gladiator.
They look really nice. Honestly,
Yeah.
I looked at getting one at one point.
And I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, it's just extra. It's just really long. It's like a body bag that you have to carry around.
Yeah, I mean,
See, Kyle says the same thing that I just said. The cot, the pads, the bedding, they take up so much space.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people don't realize about rooftop tents. Yeah, they're glamorous. Yeah, they're the in thing, but they're also very practical because if you get the right one, you can store everything inside of it.
Yeah. Robert does say his roof nest, he likes it, but you can't store any bedding up there. So that takes away the convenience. And there are some that don't hold the bedding.
Yeah, and nowadays people are looking for the thinnest, the lightest, and I'm thinking y'all must not have. They're not comfortable. You can't store anything in them. They're not very practical.
Sleeping on a you must enjoy sleeping on a piece of
Concrete
plywood
floor.
And they don't save you maybe a tenth of a mile per gallon, because of the thinness. You're still going to catch all the wind.
Yeah.
And so if you get one that's a little thicker, then you will be able, like a iCamper or like the ones y'all have from Global Road, or like the ones that I'm going to get. You have room for the mattress, the sleeping bags, the pillows, all that stuff stays up there, and you've got so much more room in your vehicle. Yeah. And if you drive a small vehicle, which 90% of us do,
there's not much space.
It's
unless you have deletes, like if you have rear seat deletes. But then, like, we have family, so we can't exactly do that unless the kids.
Yeah, we can't delete our seat yet.
Yeah. But well, I have done that. It was the best thing that I've ever done. But like I said, I don't have kids all around, so
yeah.
But that's been as I've gone through this, and my rigs have changed and my priorities have evolved. Saving time and making my life easier at camp has been a priority.
That's priority.
Everything easily accessible, everything easy to set up, quick setup, quick takedown. Because I hate getting to camp and you got to spend an hour.
Hate it.
Setting up your kitchen, setting up your tent, setting up your cot, inflating your mattress.
So let's talk about that for a little bit, babe. Yeah. Like, I know you have everything on the back of your Gladiator. At one point, we had the VRV camper. Joey, you've had a trailer with a tent on the back. What are the pluses and bonuses of the two differences? Like, one, you can have a base camp, one, you're portable. I know you just kind of talked about this on your show as well. What do you prefer? I mean, I know there's the time for everything, honestly, but if you were just a go-to, what would you prefer?
I love the convenience of the trailer. I love being able to carry more creature comforts with the trailer. I don't mind the trailer taking a little bit longer to set up because I know it's going to stay in one spot for 4 or 5 days. Yeah. That was in Big Bend. So we were able to set everything up and leave it there for 5 or 6 days. But preferably, and we talked about this earlier, the less stuff you get out, the less stuff you have to put up. And so preference for me is I can't tell you how many times I have went into Artemis or went to Moore and looked at something and thought, man, that is cool. I've got to have that. Bought it, used it once, never used it again. Yeah. Because I thought it would be cool to have. But like Matt said, I spend 90% of my upgrades are making my life easier and making setup quicker. Because if it takes you too long to set it up, you're going to end up hating it, not using it, or end up not going. And so everything that I've done to my vehicle with the rear seat delete and being able to keep things in there 100% of the time, and not having to load and unload and load and unload.
Yeah.
Being able to keep my stove in there where it's easily accessible, keeping my fridge in there where it's always there. All I have to do is throw food in there and I'm done.
Right.
The tables that are in there.
Did you picture the back, Jay?
Blah, 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 blah. That's all we heard.
Say it again.
Can you hear me now?
Can.
Yeah. Okay. Did you send Cara a picture of the back of your FJ?
You know he did because I said I like his
she
booty.
specifically
Put that
requested
up
that.
there.
I did.
I don't know if I okay, this is the most recent setup. So I just added the Expedition 1 dual swing out bumper.
And see, everything in that is accessible.
Yeah.
Because that's what I hated in the back of my Wrangler of having all the totes. If I wanted something in the bottom tote, I had to pull out 3 totes on top of it to get to the stuff in the bottom tote.
Same here.
And that drove me bonkers.
This may look completely overwhelming.
It's accessible.
But I just want to say that is one of the most organized rear ends I have ever seen.
over on the left side, on the door that swings out, I've got my spices. I've got my
Overland spices.
Paper towels, Overland spices. Got my paper towels, my toilet paper, and my cleaning stuff. And then I've got a fold down table with my knives that I use to cut everything up. I've got 2 drawers. One drawer on the left carries my coffee maker and my cooking utensils, which consists of 3 pieces of cast iron.
Yeah.
And then on the right side, it holds my stove. Like that previous picture that you showed up there, I actually upgraded that right side drawer because the problem that I had, and I love the setup, but the problem that I had was when I upgraded my refrigerator, I had to move it from the left side to the right side. Mm-hmm. And that's a side that my stove has to go on. So every time that I would always forget something in my fridge, I would have to pick my stove up and hand it to Connie, say, hold this for a minute. Then I'd have to pull the fridge out, get something out of it, put it back in, set the stove back down. And so now, since I put a drawer inside of a drawer, I've got my stove there, and I can pull my fridge out when the stove is out. So that solved all that problem for me. And
is that another drawer system there on the left, Joey?
Tell people what that is beside the fridge, Joey. What is
that? Is okay. When I was deer hunting with a buddy of mine, he's the one that goes to all these auctions and buys this stuff that everybody has for sale. That is actually a metal file cabinet that is beside my refrigerator. I actually took magnets and I glued on the inside of the drawers to keep the drawers closed. That is a metal file cabinet. It was the perfect height. And beside that is my running water that I made out of a jerry can. And then I have some storage over on the left side of that. So I have my running water. The bottom drawer on the file cabinet holds all my food. The top holds hoses. Sometimes I keep my Coleman oven in there, different things like that. So everything's right there, easily accessible in one spot. The best thing in this picture is the way that I did my stove and in the dual swing out where I made that table. It did not come with that table. I actually had to make that table. That table is actually made for a TJ Jeep. And I had to get one that was short, compact, and would fit in that space. So I put that on the inside of my swing out. So when it swung out, I would be able to have a table right there where I was cooking on the stove.
I think that's amazing because you can go from cutting to your cooking. Like it's just so one spell swooped right there.
I absolutely love it. Absolutely.
Now, how much weight would you say all of that adds?
Is
that kind of like a trade-off for gas? You kind of have to.
Yeah, people ask me all the time
how much they weigh.
People ask me all the time.
You can't ask how much an overland rig weighs, babe. That's rude.
How much do your rig weigh? Have you ever weighed your rig? I was like, why would I want to weigh a rig? I don't care. All these people are so hung up on gross vehicle weight ratings and all this other stuff. Yeah. And let me tell you, if I'm not busting springs and shocks, it's good. It's fine. So anyway, it's great.
It's a lot better now that he's got his new Expedition bumper with swing out. So,
well, and also I did have a lot of sag in the back because when I did my original,
me too, Joey. Me too.
Yeah, I'm not talking about personally. I'm talking about my FJ. When I did my first lift kit, I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, and I really had a limited budget. So I did what every poor man does. I bought a rough country. And the rough country, I know, that is like curse words in the Jeep world. But let me tell you, for 4 years, that thing suffered through all of these pictures that you're seeing. It went everywhere. It went on Imogene Pass. It went on Engineers Pass. It took me down everywhere. But the problem is, 4 years later, with all that weight, it got really tired.
Yeah.
I mean, really
I'm there,
tired.
Joey.
I still had the original OEM springs on there because all it came with was shocks. And so it was back. When did I go up to Tony's, babe, to get that done? 2 months ago?
Yeah.
I went up and put a new lift kit on it from Iron Man, and it had upgraded heavy duty springs, and that totally changed everything. Yeah. It lifted the back end up about 3 or 4 inches where it was supposed to be, got everything where it was supposed to be. It raised it up, rides a lot better. I don't have the California.
I mean, Matt did that too. He got some airbags for the back because whenever he would hook up to the Conquer, it would squat him down.
I've been told about the airbags. It's probably one of the best upgrades that you could possibly do, and so
they actually work.
And I'll probably have those in my future.
Yeah, for sure. Matthew Dean has asked, have you had any issues with the trailer ever flipping over?
I have not. I have not taken it down any. How could I put this?
Major technical trails.
Any videos that are in any trails are in Matt's videos. I haven't taken them down any of those. Now I did get the articulating hitch on there, because just in case, I wanted it. That trailer is homemade. It was built by the students at the high school in the welding shop. I took them an axle from an M100 military trailer, and they built everything from the axle up. And so it took them about 5 months. It was amazing. I drew it out on a napkin. They did exactly how I wanted it. That's awesome. It bounces a little bit going down the interstate, but getting it out on a slight trail, I've taken it down the road that goes by Car Wash Falls. I've taken it down there. So semi places that are not too bad, but I haven't taken it down any mat trails at all, and probably wouldn't, because that's not what I got it for. Right. I got it for finding a place where I could base camp just off the highway, down a little dirt road, down a little, whatever road, and parking it, and then being able to unhook and go do whatever I want.
Well, if you've noticed, we've not taken the Conquer to any of Matt's trails either.
I don't blame you a bit.
And one reason for us, not that it's definitely capable and can do all of that stuff, but it's going to be our home. And so we don't want to break our home before we're living in it.
We're not going to wreck our home.
We don't want
to be a home wrecker.
We've only taken it out.
Don't want to be a home wrecker.
So the very first weekend we take it out, I mean, it was a very, very short trail, but that trail to get to the campsite wasn't a walk. I mean, it was, it had some deep, it had some mud holes along the way, and a steep descent in, slightly off camber, or steep, when we left, a steep climb out of there. And
apparently we need to go check on our internet tomorrow.
Am I frozen again?
You were. Yeah, in and out.
Why am I the only one freezing?
Maybe I don't know.
Huh.
And that's a good question. Since he cycles ass trailer security. When we dropped our trailer, we stayed in the place just left me. It's Ironton Park. So it's just a little place between Silverton and Ouray. It's just on the side of the road. Yeah. People just pull in there and that's where they camp. It's no amenities or whatever.
Yeah, we left our trailer there before.
2 different times. We left it there and for weeks at a time, and nobody ever bothered it. I really didn't think about people stealing stuff. Now, if it was in the Ozarks or the Ouachitas, I would be a little more worried about it. because you've got, deer hunters, you got people on 4-wheelers that are going by. I really don't know what to tell you. With ours now, with y'all's, you can lock the door. But with ours, everything is out in the open. So
I can tell you right now that we will probably we've left it once, and it absolutely terrifies me. But we do have security things that are left behind on it. I won't go into that detail because I don't want people to then try to find that. But with that being said, we also know we're really good friends with Kelly and her husband from Dome Life.
Yeah.
And they just had, their camper completely stolen. They had left it, I think, overnight at near Lake Sylvia in the Ouachitas or something like that. And that was their home. Yeah. Everything they had was in it. And so I think you just have to be really mindful of your surroundings. And I don't know. It still scares me every time.
I think the best thing that you can possibly do.
Matt's a little bit less worried about it than I am, which makes me even more worried about it.
I think the best thing that you could possibly do is get a tracking device on it. But with them stealing stuff out of it, there's really nothing that we could do to keep them from that the way ours is made.
Yeah. I will say there's also
you can't stop people from vandalizing it.
No, you can't have any. There's not really anything there. There are like locking hubcap things that you can get.
Yeah. Wheel locks.
Yeah, wheel locks.
And I can tell you this. I was raised to respect people's privacy, and I can promise you that people in today's society are not taught that. And we were out camped in the Ouachitas a few weeks ago, and 2 different times people came right in on us, and they were wanting to look at the creek or whatever, and they walked right up to us, walked past us, and they were right there beside us, and it was just one of those things where I thought to myself, I would never do that. But the way that
it's like your personal space.
It really is. But people will walk in there, and if they see you're not there, it's very easy for them to grab a gas can. And I tell you what, gas cans right now are going to be a hot commodity. So, all that stuff they just pick up and take off. So I don't think you could buy enough cables and locks to keep everything down, but that's one way to do it. But it's something to think about for sure.
Yeah, Robert and I were camped in the Ozarks on one of the streams, and we were, I can't remember if we were cooking or maybe we were swimming, and a vehicle comes up, parks in our camp, and they get out and come down to the water, and we're like, sure, come on, share our camp with us.
Yeah.
What the crap?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because they're like, we see you on YouTube. Let's hang out.
No, that was before then.
Yeah.
There was like when Joey and I was camping there, it was like a family of 7. I mean, it was.
Yeah, they just walked down and they waved and let the kids play in the water and do whatever. I mean, they were within 15 foot of us. So it was really odd, but that's just something you got to think about. So
Robert said Matt does sometimes, but usually they like being in the videos, especially if they camp really close to the waterfalls.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt's going to make you Insta famous if you walk into his campsite. That's what happened.
That's why I married him. That's why I married him. Oh, so what are y'all planning to shop for it more?
Oh, I don't know.
Will y'all have both vehicles at more? Will y'all have both rigs?
Well, mine will be in the Artemis booth. We'll have to take hers to go back and forth to our Airbnb where we're staying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you not going to have yours in the Storyteller? I thought you were listed as a Storyteller.
I don't know why he listed me in the Storyteller.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the Artemis booth, probably with my trailer as well.
Okay.
And we'll be using Connie's rig to drive us back and forth to the Airbnb.
Shuttle services.
Yeah, we've got our buddy from West Virginia that we went out and saw. He's actually going to be in the Round Rack booth right across from us. And Tony's going to be there. We're actually staying with them in an Airbnb, so we're going to have to shuttle people back and forth in Connie's rig. So
yeah, well, I'm definitely coming over there to shower. I told Connie I'm coming to the Airbnb to take a shower.
Yeah,
we're camping at more. We're gonna be at the Expo the whole time. I mean, I don't mind showering at the house at the camp. It'll be a little weird to have all of our patrons and subscribers around us Like, this
That'll
is us,
make
guys.
a good video.
This is real life.
Yeah. This is the way it happens when you're urban.
You talk about the gas. We're taking both vehicles and pulling the tank up there, so we're gonna have all three up there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Gladiator will be parked in the storyteller area the whole time. So we'll be using.
Well,
Kara's
mine will be
Jeep
parked
to
there, I think, for
go
maybe 1 or
places.
2 days. Yeah.
Yours will be there on Saturday, and then we're taking e-bikes before the rest.
Sweet. Well, I may be taking my adventure bike that I just built. It may be in the Dow Dynamics booth. We'll see. He mentioned something about having it in there, but so I may be pulling a motorcycle or a trailer up this Saturday, and then next Wednesday be pulling the other trailer up. So it's going to be eventful.
All these people saying that they live close. I may hit you up for a shower. Don't be.
Oh boy, here we go.
Don't say that. Chad says not enough people have been taught outdoor ethics.
I agree.
That could be a class in itself.
Well, and you can see that every time you go by the amount of trash that we always have to pick up. So that's a good indicator that there's those people are everywhere.
Yeah, Matt. Whenever they went to the Kentucky Trail, like I don't know if it was the previous episode, the first one, where they pulled up on a camp spot and they said that they could have filled
3 trash bags full of trash.
But you said that you could have filled at least 10, probably.
Yeah.
It's the fire pits that they use for trash.
This wasn't fire pits. This was just trash everywhere. Clothes, diapers.
You're delayed, and it's so funny. You look like one of those bad movies over in China.
Kung Fu Theater.
We're on the same internet.
I don't know what you're saying.
I love it. I had a horrible issue with that earlier, so I'm glad it's not just me. And it may be the Conway area. It may be Conway area. So
okay, so real quick, what are you looking for shopping though? You never answered.
I'm not really looking for
dialed
anything.
in. Are you done?
I homemade everything that I had when I first built the FJ. I homemade everything. I built everything from scratch, or I had the welding shop built it. In the last 2 years, I have spent upgrading everything from homemade to actually manufactured. And the reason is because it's lighter and stronger. Trying to go with a lot of aluminum. I had a steel roof rack. I got aluminum roof rack now. And so, different things like that. So mainly I'm not going to be shopping. Now, there are some things that I want to see. I know that the place where you bought your Outback RV of Texas is going to be there. And I hope
I don't think Craig's not going to be there, but I think
I hope they bring a
Craig's going to be there.
Conqueror 440 because I want to see that. So we're still constantly shopping for trailers. I haven't made my mind up what our forever trailer I want it to be. So I'm constantly have my mind open because every single year there are new trailers that are brought from overseas, Australia, South Africa, that are making their way to the United States. So I'm keeping my mind open. I have about a 5-year window to purchase that. So I have it narrowed down now, but there's new ones that are coming all the time.
Yeah.
And you really don't have a good idea about what they do, what they look like, how big they are until you actually see one in person.
And there's going to be so many trailers up more.
I think he said 60 trailer manufacturers. So I'm gonna have my eyes open for that. I'm not really looking for any equipment or gear. Now I'm sure there will be something there that I will see that I want. But not really shopping for anything. I just want to meet and talk to people because this is one of the few times that you actually get to see people that you only see 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So, getting to hang out with those people and see those people, that's always something I look forward to.
Yeah, we're super pumped, and we have a lot of people coming from up north that I've never met. Like I see Northology Adventures in here, Cindy Pope, and I'm having the women's thing on Saturday, so I can't wait to meet some of those ladies and get to know them. And
what time is that, Cara, again?
Yeah, it's Saturday at 2 p.m. 2 p.m.
Okay.
You're going to have to get permission from Aaron to leave the register
Yeah.
at 2 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a hot time right there. That's when a lot of people will be walking around. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my goal.
good.
But anyways,
Good.
yeah, super pumped to see all that. I know that Matt is willing to look at the long range gas tanks since we were talking about.
That's
Yeah,
something
I need to
that
talk
I've
to them.
highly considered.
Yeah.
That way, when I fill up my Gladiator, it
Yes,
doesn't cost me
Robert,
$70. It costs me $140.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I've always looked at those. I've priced those with Jason Harris, and really has considered those cost effective.
Mhm.
I'm not sure
I think they
because
help if you're on a trail and you need the gas. Like you have an extra
Yeah,
security there.
oh yeah,
I
that's
don't need
definitely.
one.
Yeah.
I don't need one now. In 3.5 years,
Yeah.
Mhm.
when we're on the road full time, I'm going to need one.
You're going to need one then, yeah.
So,
Because
yeah.
if you get out
I'm
west,
looking ahead.
if you get way out west, out into the Nevada, California, where it's
Mhm.
200 miles plus between gas
Right.
stations,
Or Alaska.
you're really,
Yeah.
really pushing it if you don't have that extra space.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, like right
I'm
now,
looking ahead for
the
the
places
future.
that we go, we have to stop about every 150 miles anyway to stretch our legs, let Bruiser out or whatever.
Right.
And so that's not really an issue. I can carry, I think I've got a 3-gallon Roto Packs that I carry everywhere. So, I mean, we've got an extra 3 gallons if we need it. And that usually helps, but having to have an extra 15, 20 gallons, I haven't really run into that yet. So
Yeah, Robert said $2,400 for the extended tank for the
that's
4Runner.
about what it is for the FJ as well. That's with
Yeah.
installation and everything. So
Yeah.
The
And
one thing
yeah.
that I know I'm going to come home with, that Cara doesn't even know this.
Cara.
The
are
first
those
year
new
we
cool
nearly bought
are
an
those
Opus.
bungees. No, these are. I just want bungee cords.
The second year we nearly bought a van. What are you about to say?
like the ultimate
I'll-
bungee.
The rubber ones with the little holes in them that you can. I don't know what they're called.
The ultimate bungee.
Aaron
the
has
ultimate bungee.
those.
Yeah, Aaron
That's what I
has-
want. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
What
gonna
is
go.
it? What
I'm gonna find
even
Aaron
for?
for strapping down stuff in the back of the
Scrappy
body.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got that new top secret thing that eventually, and I'm gonna be able to strap stuff down.
Oh, jeez.
A top secret thing.
Top secret
It
thing.
is. It's top secret.
Are y'all
No.
in a mad crutch to do things like before more? Are y'all
No.
just like
Mm-mm.
we are in mad? We're like with Arla and Tony.
Arla's Jeep is torn completely apart.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
I told Tony
I've seen
his timing was awful.
It's real bad.
Absolutely awful.
That's ours too. That's where we're at. So
yeah.
we may be hollering at you since we know you're not doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, before more between,
Yeah.
I got a week to. I've got a new lift coming for the Gladiator.
Hmm.
I've got obviously I've got tires. That's going to go on one of the vehicles. We're not telling which one yet. I've got Rhino rack. We're getting the platform instead of the Vortex bars.
Hold on
So
a second.
that's on its way.
I like this idea.
Um,
You need enough gas to get in and out of California because without paying for the prices.
Yeah.
So
that's
we
a good
could
idea.
use an extra gas tank for just to be
Mhm.
able to not pay the mountain prices. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
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 I've got a new bed rack coming. I already have my front drive shaft out. I've got a new one in the garage that I got to put in. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, and
Yeah,
editing
it's-
videos in my job. So
yeah. Yeah. You got to throw a little work in there.
right.
Yeah.
Work.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I edit videos and it's painful sometimes.
It is.
It's a lot of work.
Painful.
Oh my word! So you didn't get to talk to Chad Ellis about Caleb's new truck. He got an amazing deal on an amazing Tacoma.
Have you seen what he bought?
Incredible. I'll send you
He
pictures
found
after this.
a-
But look, Caleb's new
found
trunk
a
has a long range tank.
I see that, but he found a 2018 Tacoma
Yeah,
that apparently already has a long range tank. Already's got
freaking incredible.
bumpers front and rear, winch. It's got a Go Fast camper shell on the back with the
Oh,
tent
wow.
and everything. I mean, it is. I mean, it is a turnkey overlanding beast of a Tacoma
Yeah.
that he found at a dealership that someone
Oh, my
traded in.
goodness.
I hope he got a good deal on that, and the dealership didn't have a clue.
Yeah. If they don't have a clue what they got, that's you fell into a pit of heaven. That's amazing. That's awesome.
For sure. I just brought it in. Hold on just a second. I want to, because you have to see it. Like, I want everybody to see
and it's on
what we are
35.
talking about. Yeah, this is it.
And it's a TRD Pro.
Hold on. Where did it go?
Oh, hold on.
Come on.
Hold on.
I know.
World premiere.
The anticipation is building. Hold on.
Caleb's
You got to see it. Keep
Robert
holding.
said,
Hold
what
on.
did he do with his 3rd gen 4Runner?
He sold it.
Sold it. There it is.
Nice.
Go incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, and it has
I mean,
a long range tank. It has the back out.
Yeah. If I saw something like that sitting on a used car lot, I'd hit the brakes and go in there immediately. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's
even if you don't want it, you're calling everybody that you know that might want it.
And you're staying there and holding it where I'm like a good friend.
That's like a unicorn. But
Yep. Yeah, and I bet you he could flip it.
Hey, you probably could. But he won't. He's gonna drive the crap out of that thing.
I think I hear Bruiser in the background snoring, so I think he's ready for bed.
Wherever he's at.
I knew when we had them on, we were gonna go way long. I knew.
Yeah.
It's like we're having dinner together.
This is just like when we go eat Mexican.
Yeah.
It is. It's exactly it.
Yeah.
We're there for 4 hours, and the waitress finally stops checking on us. She's like, "I'm done with this table."
Yeah.
Next time we go out to eat, we just need to set a camera up and call it a podcast.
Yeah,
there you go.
we can just go live. Live. I love it.
I don't know.
He paid less than a stock TRD Pro sells for.
Wow.
That's pretty freaking sweet.
Well, I know how much that camper is, and so that's a good deal. That's a good
deal. Heck of a deal.
Really nice.
All right, I'm going to bed now. Y'all can stay in chat. I'm leaving.
Hey, we appreciate you being on here, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bye, babe.
Yeah. Oh, you just
You're
turned it
the
off.
weakest link.
I love how I can do that. Goodbye.
Say you're the weakest link. Goodbye.
He really is.
Sarah has
really
all the
is.
controls. So.
He's back in the green room over here, just looking at me like, what?
What? Oh,
there you go.
Oh, you let him
Andy's
back?
And he's gone.
Andy's got.
Poor Matt. Don't be
I
pick on
know.
Matt.
I know. But anyways,
it.
I've loved having you on and just being able to learn more about you. You know, we see you go, Brofessor, all of that jazz and the shenanigans that you and Tony do. But I just love you both as a couple, and y'all are some amazing friends.
Well, thank you.
We love y'all.
We
love you a lot.
We appreciate it. We appreciate you having us on. It was an honor to be on your show. I appreciate that. And you know what?
You started me with this.
From the day that I suggested you have your own show, I have loved your show. And so I'm really glad that, you turned me down at first and said, shut up. I don't know what you're talking about. And then you were like, oh, tell me more. How does this work? How's this work? How's this work? How's this work? And then you actually went through with it. I'm excited that,
I appreciate you. You lit a fire. Oh gosh.
I'm back.
Hey, you're coming in a lot better right there. Oh man.
If we don't see you before more,
There's no walls here. She can't keep me out.
I'm gonna punch him like Will Smith did Chris Rock.
Oh, I knew that was coming up. Knew it was coming up.
Well, we will see you guys at more, if not before, because we will need your help installing things.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Can't wait to see you all next week, and I can't wait to see most of you at more. Everybody have a good night.
Thanks.
Bye.